What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working on the pistol squat. The pistol squat is probably the hardest bodyweight leg exercise that there is, and it's because of the simple fact that there are so many factors involved in this move. So in order to master a pistol squat, I like to focus on three main areas, which are going to be mobility, strength, and balance. You need the proper ankle mobility to get to the lower portion of the pistol squat, enough hamstring flexibility to keep the leg that is extended perpendicular to the ground. Then you need sufficient amount of strength in your quads to push yourself back up, as well as enough hip flexor strength to keep the leg that is extended as high as possible. And finally, we need balance to be able to stand on one leg and control the entire movement. The trick to unlock the pistol squat is being aware of which one of these areas you might be lacking on, and therefore putting more emphasis on improving that specific area. So for this routine, we're going to be assessing these areas separately so we can understand more our own individual weaknesses so we can work towards improving them. I would recommend you follow this routine 2 or 3 times per week, but if you realize that your biggest issue is mobility, then I would encourage you to work on your ankle flexibility and on your hamstring flexibility at least every other day, and ideally every single day. That's all I wanted to cover before we begin, so without further ado, I'll see you on your mat. Alright guys, so let's begin. So as I said at the beginning, the pistol squat is about mastering 3 main areas, which are going to be your mobility, your strength, and your balance. And the most important one of all of them is going to be your mobility, especially your ankle mobility or ankle dorsiflexion. So if you don't have the proper ankle mobility, then no matter how strong you are, you will not be able to perform a pistol squat just because you don't have the proper range of motion to go all the way down and then push yourself all the way up. So we're gonna do a couple of tests as well as a warm-up exercise to see how much ankle mobility we have and to see if we need to work, how much we need to work on that specific area. So we're gonna place our foot at about 2 fingers only distance apart from a wall or something, and I want you to drive your knee forward without caving the knee in, because that's a compensation of a lack of ankle mobility. So I want you to drive your knee to the outside. Imagine your knee is going to the middle of your toes, and you go forward, and if you cannot get your knee towards the wall, that means that you really need to pay attention and work a lot on your ankle dorsiflexion. We're gonna go for 10 of those. If you cannot get to the wall, just go a little closer, but just keep in mind that 2 fingers and not getting your knee towards that wall, that means that you need to pay a lot of attention on stretching your ankle. So we're gonna go for just 8 of those. Forward, let's go for 1, 2, just to start warming up into the ankles. 4, 5, 6, make sure it's going to the outside. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now let's switch sides. If that was too easy and you're getting like super easy to the wall, just go a little to backwards towards away from the wall so you can get a bigger range of motion. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The next warm-up and also test that we're going to do is just getting into a deep squat. If you cannot get into a low squat without your heels lifting off the ground, that you need to be here in order to be in this position, that means again that you need to pay a lot of attention in working on your ankle dorsiflexion. So if you cannot get to this position, you can grab a pair of blocks. We're gonna hold here for 30 seconds just to start warming up again into the ankles and a little bit on the hips. So place your heels on top of the blocks, and we're just gonna hold here for about 30 seconds. Use your elbows to open up your knees and open up into the hips. Lift your chest up, make sure you're not sinking backwards. You can move side to side to open up into the hips. If you don't need the blocks, you can always remove the blocks. But again, if you need the blocks to be in this position, I would recommend you stay in this position every single day. As soon as you wake up in the morning, every hour, whenever you're sitting down working on your computer, and just get up and get into the squat. and work with an elevation, and then start lowering that elevation until you are able to sit comfortable in this position. 5 more seconds here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so that was for the ankle flexion flexibility. Again, keep in mind that if you're struggling to do these exercises, I encourage you to do both of these exercises daily so you can improve that ankle dorsiflexion. The next step is going to be our strength, to see if we have enough quad strength to push ourselves up with the leg that is coming up, as well as enough hip flexor strength to keep the leg that is up extended in the air and perpendicular to the ground. So first one, let's test our quad strength. Let's start with our left leg on top of a box or something elevated. Obviously, the higher the elevation, the harder the exercise is going to be. But if you can push yourself up and come down for like 8 times, which we're gonna do right now, that means that you have sufficient quad strength to do the pistol squat. So let's go for 8 of those, just to start warming up into the quad and getting some strength in the process. So let's go for 1, down, 2. Again, make sure your knees always going to the outside and it's not caving in. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now let's switch sides. Let's go for the right. Let's go for 1, 2, 3. Try to lower with control every time. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if you were able to do that pretty easily, that means that you do have the strength, the quad strength, to do a pistol squat, and you need to work more on your mobility. Now let's see if we have the proper hip flexor strength to keep our leg extended in the air. How we do this, we're gonna start with our right leg, and what I want you to do from here is lift the foot off the box and see if you can hold it. You can also put your hand in the wall for balance. So we take the balance element out of the equation, and if you can hold this for 10 seconds, that means that you have enough hip flexor strength. So let's hold it for just 5 more, just to start warming up into the hip flexors. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, set it down. Now what we're going to do is do the same exercise, but we're going to extend the leg. So if you are able to hold this, no problem, but if you try to extend the leg and your leg either drops or you fall back, that means that you have enough hip flexor strength, but you do not have enough hamstring flexibility, so you need to pay attention on that. We're just gonna hold that position again to test and to start warming up for the pistol squat routine. So lift the knee off the box, then extend the leg and try to hold it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, point your toes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set it down. Let's go with the left foot on top of the box, lift it up, extend the leg, and hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and set it down. So that introduction was basically to know if you're lacking more ankle flexibility, if you're lacking more hamstring flexibility, if you're lacking more hip flexor strength, or if you're lacking more quad strength. And whichever area you are lacking the most, that's the area that you need to pay the most close attention. So for the routine, now we're gonna get into routine. We're gonna do some progressions for our strength, as well as I always do, we're gonna be stretching in between the strength sets, both in our ankles and in our hamstring flexibility. So the first one we're going to do is going to be basically a half pistol squat with something elevated. The lower the surface, the harder the exercise is going to be. We're gonna start with our left foot on the floor and our right leg extended. You don't need to be here, but if you do have the hip flexor strength and the hamstring flexibility enough, you can be here. But if you're just starting out, you can just be right here. You can also use your hands for balance. And we're gonna go low, and then we're gonna go up for 10 times. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, keep lifting that leg, 8, 2 more, 9, and 10. So as you probably can see, we are now incorporating also the balance element, which for balance, the only thing that you can do is just practice on your own. Just stand on one leg whenever you have a chance and just practice the pistol squat drills that we're going to do, and your balance will improve over time. But what you need to pay more attention is again on mobility and on strength. Now let's go with the other leg. Right foot is on the floor, left leg is extended. We're gonna go up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and one more, and 10. So by now, you're probably going to realize that you have one leg stronger than the other, you have one leg more flexible than the other one, you feel more balance in one leg than the other, and that's completely normal. Don't judge yourself and just accept it as it is, and obviously practice both legs the entire time. The next one we're going to do is going to be pistol squat elevated. So you're going to find an elevation where you can go up in that elevation, and this is going to make the exercise easier by taking the hip flexor strength as well as the hamstring flexibility element out of the equation. Because by being elevated, you're going to be able to have your foot right here or either right here, and you don't need to have it like right here. So find a place where you can go comfortable. You can again use something to balance, but if you're doing this progression, that means that you should have enough hamstring flexibility, ankle flexibility, and all the other areas that I mentioned. So let's try to go for that full pistol squat. So come down as slow and as controlled as possible. Again, you can drop the leg a little bit to make it easier on your hip flexors, and then push back up. Let's go for only 5 of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's switch legs. Let's go with the left foot on top of the elevation and with your right leg on top. So come down for 1, come down, 2, 3. Try to keep this leg engaged also. 4, and one more, and 5. Come down from the box. We're gonna be resting by stretching a little bit on the ankles. So grab a book or a block or something, place it here. Let's start with the left first. You're going to put your foot on top of the elevation. The other foot is behind, and you're going to lean forward. Make sure like you're not rounded, but you're driving your hips forward. You can bend your knees. As long as you feel the stretch on your calf, that's going to be more than enough. We're just gonna hold here for like 20 seconds on each side. Keep your attention on your breathing. Whenever I train legs, my heart rate goes like super up. Obviously, it's like half of your body, and it uses a lot of energy to work them out, and especially if you're doing pistol squat, which is all your body weight on one leg, it's always going to be pretty intense. Switch legs, go for the right foot on top of the elevation, drive your hips forward, drive your knee forward a little bit, feel the stretch on your calf. More seconds. If you find more openness, always drive a little bit forward to feel the stretch. If you can extend the knee to create more length into the calf. And release. The next exercise we're going to do is going to be rolling pistol squats, which is going to make the pistol squat a lot easier because we're gonna use a little bit of momentum to go up. We're only gonna go for 5 on each side. What I want you to do is roll back. Let's start with our left foot in the ground. The right leg is going to be the extended one. You're going to roll, lift both legs off the ground, then roll forward and just stand up. So if you don't have the strength yet, or the ankle flexibility, or all the areas that I mentioned, you can just roll up, and hold it here and just work on that rolling up. That's going to increase both your strength as well as your ankle flexion flexibility. And also, if you cannot get to the full pistol squat, you can get to halfway and just work progressively through that until you can do the full pistol squat up. So let's go roll back. Let's go for 1, down. Let's go for 2, down. Let's go for 3. You can use your hands for balance. I need it today. Let's go for 4. And let's go for 5. Switch legs. So go into your back. Right foot is going to be on the ground. Left leg is going to be extended. Roll back, round your back. Go forward, lean forward, and push up. Pistol squat is a lot about leaning forward when you're coming up to keep the balance. That is 2. Down, roll. Go for 3. Down, roll. Go for 4. Come down, roll. And let's go for 5. Woo. So to rest, let's stretch a little bit on the hamstrings. So extend, my favorite stretch of all times. You probably know it by now, which is a simple forward fold. Inhale, lift your chest, and exhale, fold. What I want you to do differently is really flex the foot. So we're really also stretching our calf, which is more important than your hamstrings when it comes to the pistol squat. So flex your foot, use your hands to push your feet towards you, or you can use a strap or something if you cannot get to your feet. Inhale, lift your chest, exhale, fold for like 20 seconds. Slowly go back up. The next one we need to do is really going to help you for basically getting that lower position of the pistol squat, which is going to be the hardest position of them all. It's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to be here, and I want you to drive your hip forward and get into that pistol squat. If you don't have the proper ankle mobility, you will not be able to do this exercise. So what I want you to do is place your hands on your back, just lean forward and just hold it here. Maybe then take one hand off and eventually try to do it without your hands. Let's go for 10 of those on each side. So go forward for 1, 2, 3, really driving forward to increase that dorsiflexion on your ankle. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and switch. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now to rest, we're gonna do one of my favorite stretches for getting your ankle flexibility right, which is going to be downward facing dog, the most common position on yoga there is. So place your hands above shoulder width apart, drive your hips up and down, press with your shoulders, and if you don't have enough ankle flexibility, you're gonna struggle to have your heels towards the ground. So what I want you to do is bend one knee at a time, then focus only on that side, then bend, stretch, push, bend, stretch, push. Just play around with it to start opening a little bit more every time into the ankle. Keep your attention on your breathing. Relax the nervous system, relax the mind. To prepare for the last exercise. Try to hold it if you can. And slowly come up. So the last exercise we're going to do is basically attempt the pistol squat. Again, I think I need to say this over and over. If you don't have enough hamstring flexibility or ankle flexibility, you need to be working on that daily. Don't try to attempt the pistol squat if you don't have that mobility yet, because you're really gonna get frustrated and you're gonna think that you don't have the strength or like the move is too difficult, and the only thing that you might be lacking is just that ankle flexibility. So pay really close attention to that and try to stretch it every single day. But if you feel like you have enough hamstring flexibility, if you were able to do all the exercises easily, let's try to go for that pistol squat. Let's go for only 2 reps on each side. So the technique for the pistol squat, let's start with the left foot on the floor. Right leg is gonna be extended up. Try to get it as high as possible. That's gonna prevent you that when you go down, you don't touch the floor. So you start coming down, your knee, don't make it cave in, going to the outside the entire time. You lean forward, you engage your core. It's a full body movement, even if we're focusing on the leg. Try to come down as slow as possible. Keep leaning, engaging your core. Try not to round too much, but keep your back flat. Try getting to that lower position, which is the hardest part. And now the hardest part is actually push yourself back up, which you do by leaning forward and again trying to keep that knee to the outside and trying to create balance. Let's go for one more on that side. Lower down with control, push yourself back up. Now let's go with the right. Come down and then come up. Your knee is going to the outside, you point your toes, you lift your leg, lower down with control. You can put your hands forward to help you with balance and momentum, and then you go back up. Also, you can use like a little weight, like a 10-pound weight, put it in front of you, and that's also gonna make the exercise a little bit easier. So that's it, guys. That was the follow along routine, but it's mostly a guide for you guys to take all the information that I just showed you and being able to get the pistol squat. You can use this routine to get stronger and to stretch in the areas that I said that you need to stretch. But what I want you to do is really be aware of which of the 3 areas you are lacking of. If you are lacking balance, if you have like really dorsiflexion flexibility by the 2 exercises that we did, and if you do have that, I encourage you to squat every single day. Work on the exercises that I did for the ankle dorsiflexion, the one with the wall, the deep squat, as well as the one with the blocks. And if you're lacking hamstring flexibility, also stretch your hamstrings. Also check my hamstring follow along daily routine for beginners that I'm going to link up here. And that's it, guys. I really hope all this information helps you get that pistol squat in the fastest amount of time. If you have any questions and you want me to extend on any of the particular little areas of the pistol squat, please leave it in the comment section down below and I'll be more than happy to do that. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up to support the channel. Also, share with a friend that skip legs day and that want to get the pistol squat. And as always, guys, I'll see you all next week. Much love.